Okay, reading out some more behind-the-scenes trivia today related to this serial, The Macra Terror. We're a little bit behind in our classic Doctor Who retrospective. See, I don't like to put out, just AOD, classic Doctor retrospectives one after the other if I've got other videos I need to do, so, it's a whole bunch of nonsense, really. Anyway, what have we got here? Hey, Polly sports a shorter haircut in this episode as a result of her makeover in the colony's refreshing department, although some reports have suggested that this reflected Annika Will's decision to restyle her own hair, resulting in her wearing extensions during the episode's early scenes. Wills herself has indicated that she donned a pixie cut wig to hide her uncut long hair. Fraser Hines, the actor who of course portrays Jamie McCrimmon, described the Macra, the giant crabs, as rubbish. The unfeasibly large Macra prop needed to be mounted on a van in order to be moved and was therefore very awkward to manipulate in the studio. Innes Lloyd was unhappy with the work of Shawcraft models and contacted the BBC's visual effects department for guidance as to whether the monster should reasonably have cost the £500 paid to the prop makers. Because only one Macra was constructed. For the serial, the closing moments of episode 3, in which Jamie was menaced by two of the monsters, had to be recorded out of sequence. First, John Davies taped all of the scenes involving the Macra, which moved from right to left, followed by those in which the other Macra moved from left to right. Goodness me. Now I'm going to read out the reception tab on the Wikipedia here. It's not much here, but yeah. I'll then give my own thoughts on the episode afterward. Well, it's hard to gauge this one because it's all missing, actually. Paul Cornell, Martin Day, and Keith Topping summed up the story as a flawed but interesting examination of a peculiarly 60s psychosis. David J. Howe and Stephen James Walker gave the serial a positive review, although they thought that some of the more serious aspects of the story were somewhat undermined by the presence of the Macra themselves, which tends to take it into traditional monster mayhem territory. That's a great point. It was considered to be a good production with strong performances from the guest cast, who were all excellent, bringing to life some interesting and well-drawn characters. The animated recreation, oh yes, one exists, of the Macra Terror was reviewed by Martin Ballam of The Guardian, who thought that the new animation makes the Macra far more evil, scuttling creatures, and the story works all the better for it, but that the serial was overall not one of Troughton's best. I would wager this is the weakest Troughton serial so far, although my thoughts are, so far I'm enjoying it more than I anticipated. It's one of these things where they base the serial around a monster, and the monster's somewhat kind of rubbish, and the stuff around the monster is often more impressive than the stuff with the monster, but when it's all building up to the monster, it just kind of falls flat, frankly, a bit unfortunately. There's not much else to say here. Enjoy this wonderfully goofy cliffhanger here. Thanks again, my good and dear friends.